In this video, I will show you a couple of simple tricks that I use to get the perfect steak on the barbecue every time. I'm going to show you using these beautiful T-bone steaks from Dobbies Garden Centre of all places. I'll show you how to prepare them and how to use a few simple tricks to get the perfect results on your barbecue every time. Plus a few jokes along the way. So I owe you an apology. It's been far too long since my last video, and for my regular viewers I offer an explanation. I got myself a Sage Barista Express coffee machine, and I have been working all this time to absolutely nail down the noble art of coffee art, or latte art. I'm a black coffee drinker myself, but Mrs. Barbecue loves a frothy coffee of a morning, so I thought it only fair that I dedicate months of my life into absolutely perfecting this tradition of making beautiful art out of the bubbles in warmed up milk. And I'm proud to say that after several months of work, I have been able to consistently nail down some of the best artwork I think has ever been produced on a coffee, and Mrs. Barbecue is happy to receive one of these every morning. So that's why I've been away. Anyway, back to the video. So, being middle-aged, I find myself more often than not in a garden centre of a weekend, and this time I was in a rather large Dobbies one, which had its own food hall, and more excitingly for me, a butcher's with a surprisingly decent selection
after a couple
of meat.
T-bones, if possible. The most marbled ones you've got.
That one at the back is this one. That one he's
That one, I'd say.
Lovely.
And probably that one.
Yeah.
Similar sort of sizes then.
Perfect. Yeah, spot on. Thank you.
And I was also able to pick up a couple of beautiful mushroom sauces, but I wasn't able to film them successfully. I was all over the place and they put my finger over. Anyway, back home it was time to throw these steaks onto a table. And as you can see, they are actually beautifully marbled, and both came in around £15–16, so very happy with that. It is a couple of hours before I actually want to eat these steaks, so what I'm going to do is give them a dry brine. Now, all that means is you cover them in salt. The salt sits on the outside of the meat and draws out a load of moisture. That moisture then mixes with the salt and then is reabsorbed into the meat, flavouring it throughout. It also, I believe, helps with tenderisation, so good if you've got a tougher cut. Now, these steaks came wrapped in cling film and then also in their own vac-pack bags, but that's not going to stop me because I have a knife. Putting salt on can get a bit messy, so best to do it in a tray. And last but not least, I'll take off these little bone nappies that come with it. Not sure what they're for, but there we go. Also worth noting, you want to do this on a wire rack if you can, because you don't want the dry brined underside of the steak to be touching something. I'm going to use some Maldon salt, which I think is the finest salt ever to be named after an Essex town. This is flake salt, and it looks like I'm putting quite a lot on here, but the trick with salt flakes is if you just pretty much cover it, and then you pick up the steak and gently shake it, whatever stays on the steak is the right amount of seasoning, so you can't over season. Once you've covered one side, just flip those bad boys over and do exactly the same on the other. Again, pick them up and just let any excess salt gently fall off and you'll have the right amount of salt for your dry brine. Go pop those in the fridge for a couple of hours. This step is nice to have, so if you haven't got 2 hours, don't worry too much about it, but it's best if you can. I'm going to be cooking these steaks on my Weber Master Touch, which I also bought from a garden centre coincidentally. Different one though, told you I spent a lot of time there. Now I'm going to light my restaurant grade Big K charcoal, which I didn't get from a garden centre. Got it from the farm shop. That doesn't matter. I'm going to put it in this chimney starter, which is an excellent way to start your charcoal. I'm also going to use the leftovers from my last barbecue cook, because if you shut off events at the end of your last cook and you're using decent quality charcoal, you can do this. I'll show you that at the end of the cook. Top that up with these little bits. Seriously, if you're still using like petrol station charcoal, it's some horrible rubbish, stop it. Use decent stuff, restaurant grade stuff. I'm going to use some wood-ball firelighters, light them, pop my chimney on top, give it about 20 minutes and then it'll be ready to go. I seriously don't know what I'd do without my trusty chimney starter. It makes lighting a barbecue an absolute doddle. just pour it out into one side of the barbecue. I've got these nice little separators to keep all of the charcoal in one place, but if you haven't, it's fine, just bank it up on one side. You want a hot zone and a cool zone. Pop your grill on, and you can see this grill is pretty dirty, so I'm going to do something about that in a second. First of all, it's been a couple of hours, so it's time to get those beautiful steaks out of the fridge where they've been dry brining. You can see all that salt has sort of melted. So back out to the barbecue, and let's get another look at those gorgeous steaks. They really are some good looking T-bone steaks. And all you're going to need for this cook is a pair of tongs and a thermometer. Got this one off Amazon, about £7. Put a link in the description. And to clean it, I'm just going to scrunch up some foil and rub on the hot grates. All you need to do. Literally, that is all you need to do to clean your barbecue. It's not that hard. Now I'm going to put the steaks on right above the hot zone, directly above the flames. And what I'm going to do, this is my next trick, is to flip them every 30 seconds. I want them to get a nice crust on the outside, but be beautifully rare, medium rare in the middle. This constant turning of the steaks allows you to build up that crust without overdoing the middle. And you will have noticed that I actually took these steaks directly from the fridge. I don't believe in this whole bringing a steak up to room temperature. You want the middle of the steak to be as cool as possible, so when you're going through this step, you can get as much of a crust as possible on the outside of the steak and not overcook the inside. Make sure that you keep checking the internal temperature of the meat as you go. These are around 38 now. I want to have them up to at least 45 degrees. For a steak this thin, it's going to have a lot of carryover temperature after you pull it off, so I like to bring it about to 45 on the basis it's going to reach about 52 degrees by the time I actually cut into it to eat it. So a quick check here, and we're pushing that sort of 45 mark, so I know it's time to pull these off the heat. Obviously, if you want yours done a little bit more, leave it on for longer. If you want it done a little bit less, leave it on for a little bit less time. It's not rocket science, folks. Now let's just give them a quick probe just to make absolutely sure they're the right sort of temperature. Yeah, looking around 45 degrees, that'll do for me. How do you best like your steak? Let me know in the comments. If you like it really well done, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You're perfectly normal. We can still be friends. Alright, give that a second one a quick lick of flame. Put it on my beautiful serving tray and take it inside, but then remember, oh no, I'm a YouTuber, I need to show you. Oh, look at those beautiful steaks. Right, get inside. But before I do, lid on, close the vents, including the bottom one. This is what allows you to preserve the charcoal for next time. Right, I'm gonna let them sit for about 5 minutes, fry off some eggs. I also cooked some baby new potatoes with a bit of butter, which is lovely. And then I served the whole thing alongside that lovely mushroom sauce, which I failed to film earlier. And it's come together in what I'm sure you'll agree is a delicious looking plate of food. It's basically steak, egg and chips, isn't it? And if you're not lazy like me, you could even make your own sauce. Go for it. Experiment. Anyway, time to have a look inside this thing and make sure it is the correct doneness. Moment of truth. Well, certainly cutting like butter, that's a good sign. Oh, you can't see it properly, right? Let's get some light on it. There we go. Look at that. That is exactly how I like my steak. As you can see, this thing's basically falling apart. It's so tender, and it is perfectly pink wall to wall. That's the magic of taking it directly from the fridge and then turning it every 30 seconds. I can tell you for a fact that this thing was absolutely delicious, and I would thoroughly recommend doing one of these yourselves, or indeed any steak on the barbecue. Anyway, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I never did develop a sign-off catchphrase, so bye.